got this 2000 John Deere Sabre garden tractor. Now this was a true barn find. We're going to go through and we're going to see about getting this fella up and running again. You know, some of the pictures shows all the barn dust that was on it. She's been sitting outside here for a little while, so some of that dust is rinsed off of it. So let's dive into this and see about getting this fella up and running. The motor's not set up in it, so that's a good sign. Because yeah, as soon as I get this thing ready, I got her sold. So we're going to go grab us a battery here and see if we got some juice in this motor to roll over or not. I don't know, there's a lot of people out there that like these old John Deere Sabres. They didn't make them very long. I'm not sure exactly how many years they made these things, but they were a lower line entry level into a John Deere tractor back in the day. So we're just going to take my universal battery connectors here and hook these up and see if we make this fella start up or not. Not quite sure how charged this battery is or not, but if it's not gonna work with us, this might have to go get the old battery protein shake to put on it here. All right, now we got the safety switch to deal with, so I'm gonna depress the brake pedal here, and that bypasses all the safety switches on it. Not quite for sure why this thing was parked, but we're going to find out real soon. See if we got any juice going to the motor here. How about that? She rolls over. Well, before we get too carried away here, let's go over here and check the oil in it. Make sure she's got oil in it. Yeah, she's got oil in it. She's down a little bit, but there's enough in there. We can probably get this thing get her started up here. I'm gonna have to go get the protein box here for the battery. Get this thing whirling over a little bit faster, but let's get this air breather off here. See what this looks like under there, and I'm going to go grab that protein box for the battery and put on here and grab me a can of starting fluid and, you know, let's see what a little bit of that, if this thing will bark off at all. Then we will proceed from there. I'm sure the gas line and all this, the fuel in there is shot, and well, who knows what we're going to find with that carburetor, but we'll find out soon enough here. Now, what I got here is I got one of these NOCO Boost Pluses. I use these quite a bit, and they're a handy tool to have. If you like this, you can purchase one of these on the world's second largest river in the world, and I got them pretty reasonable. I think I paid like 68 bucks for this, if I remember right. Okay, let's give her a hit of laughing gas here and see what happens. How about that? She's gonna run. Well, we don't know for sure how long this guy's been sitting, but no, that's pretty impressive. Get this fuel line off, and I'm sure that fuel's got all sorts of nastiness in it. We'll get that out and get some fresh fuel in it, and we'll see if it'll run on its own power or not without help. Well, as you can see down there, that fuel looks pretty nasty down there, and there's a spider down there. Well, he pretty much took his last swim. It wasn't the swimming pool he thought it was. So let's go down here and pull this fuel line off. See what we got here. Come on now, come on there. Oh yeah. That fuel's nasty there. I'd say that fuel's probably got water in it as well. We're going to take care of that. Alright, now before I get too carried away in this dump of gas in there, what I want to do is I want to disconnect this fuel solenoid right here. And I want to pull that bowl off there real quick. This, whatever might be in the bottom of there, we can get flushed out of there before we start this thing up and run it for a long period of time, and it sucks that crap up into the jet on it, and that's not a good thing. Pull this fill out of here. Come on now. While we got this out too, we'll check to see if this solenoid's actually working or not. Now, I'll show you how we do that. Well, you should be able to take and push that fuel solenoid in like so. Well, it's a win there. Well, let's see what it looks like when we pull the bowl off. Well, kind of stuck on there a little bit. There we go. Come on now. Oh, see? Now, that's exactly why I did what I did right there. So, yeah, this ain't looking good if it's going to start up or not. Look at all that old fuel house gelled up in there. But, you know, we're going to give it a whirl. We'll try blasting it out in there with some carburetor real good, and we'll hope for the best. And, well, if it don't work out, well, I guess we're going to have to clean the carburetor. Yeah, y'all, this is pretty bad down here, so I'm not going to say I'm hopeful in this. It's going to sit here and run idle, because, well, the odds are not, again, the odds are stacked against us right now. So, well, I'm going to have to run up in the shop there. I'm going to take and wipe this out in the parts washer real good, and I'll be right back with you. What I ended up having to do with this is glass outlet carburetor cleaner. I actually had to take my drill with a little wire wheel and clean that out inside there. But before we put this back together, we need to test that fuel solenoid and make sure that guy's working. I'm going to show you how we do that. So what we need to do is we clean this guy off a little bit first while we're right here. Might as well, you know. Well, that's working like it should, so we go ahead and plug this guy back in. Now, you don't need to take in a, whoops, hang on here a second now. We got this going the right way. Okay, hang on, there we go. Alrighty, now you don't need to worry about holding this up to the block or anything, because it has a ground wire that goes to it. So let's go ahead and hit the key. You're going to want to turn your key and send 12 volts to it, and that actuator should move. See? Right there. Yep, there we go. That plunger's going in and out. So with that working, that means that's going to let fuel in the carburetor so we can get this thing fired up. So, all right, well, let's give it a whirl, put this back together, and now y'all see how that works. Hopefully this little hillbilly carburetor rebuild we just did will be enough to get this fella started up and running. I'm having my doubts, though, as you saw how gelled up this carburetor was. But maybe we'll have some luck here. I'm still going to take and go through and clean this carburetor up regardless. I was just hoping I won't have to do it for y'all right now just to get this thing up and running. It'll just sit here and start up and run as nice as can be for right now till we get to that part. All right, now we got our fuel. We're going to go get us a different fuel filter to put on this, because I have my reservations with that gas tank, as you saw down there with the spider in there. It's there might be some other stuff in this filter we don't need in there. There we go. Yeah, that filter's she's done. It's down in there first, fresh gas to wash anything that might be in that fuel line down there before we go put it in our fresh filter and our somewhat carb clean we just did on this. I'm not doing too hot at catching the fuel out of this. Just make sure there's nothing in there. Alright, I'm satisfied with that. Inside our fuel filter on here. Oh, dadgummit, I'm making a mess here. There we go. Stop that situation. There we go. Alright. Alright, let's put some fresh fuel in there now and see if this thing's gonna run. Well, we'll see what we got here. Well, the throttle cable isn't froze up, so that's good news. All right. Yep. Might have to give this fella a little bit of help here at first. Woo! Whoa! Well, let's not do that again. All right, now I about burned the dang thing down. We'll try something a little bit different now. Kind of what I was afraid of. It sits there and runs when you feed the carburetor cleaner. Well, let's try that one more time and see if she'll clear up or not. Because if it don't, you know what that means. Come on. Well, y'all, that's kind of what I was afraid of right there. That bottom jet's plugged up and it's not picking up fuel, so, well, we ain't got no other choice right now but pull that carburetor and clean it out right, then put it back together and get her running. I was honestly hoping I'd just get lucky, you know, and it would just start picking up fuel and run for us, but, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. That's all right. Like I said, I planned on cleaning the carburetor anyway, so I guess we'll go ahead and get that done and over with. Alright, well, I gotta go and grab some tools, but yeah, I'll be right back here in a second. We'll finish this up, get this thing off. I honestly gotta say, you know, this motor here for sitting, we don't know for sure, but I do know it's been a while. They don't sound too bad. She didn't put out any smoke or have any knocks or clunks in it, so yeah. This very well could be they just parked this guy because they couldn't get it started and went out and bought another mower and thought they'd come back to it later, and well, apparently they never did. We'll get her up and get her going. We always do, from what you see on this channel. So Sometimes we have to go through some extreme measures, but we make it happen. One thing good about doing this is I have a rebuild kit for this thing right on the shelf. So that's a good thing there. Yeah, I want to make something else too. I've noticed. Well, take a look here. I just don't see a Mighty Mouse nest inside there, because you know, usually sometimes you start these things up after they've been sitting, well, they'll just blow the mice nest right out of them. So, well, we don't seem to have that. So now I'm only going to pull the car. I'm going to leave the intake manifold on there. There's no sense buying additional gaskets if we don't have to. Dadgummit, wouldn't you know, I'm going to need a deep socket to get that off. So I'll be right back here in a second. Alright, what did you guys get done while I was gone here? Nothing? Well, that's alright. You guys can just sit back and watch, and I'll do the work. That's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's just nice to sit back and watch somebody work. Alright. Now, pull that choke rod out of there, just like that. Okay, well, if I can get this thing to spin around just right, I can get that throttle linkage unhooked. There we go. You gotta be careful of your throttle spring here. You don't want to damage that, because those aren't always so handy to get a hold of, and I don't think I have one of those on hand right now. I think I used it. Alrighty, well, we'll get this carburetor apart and get her cleaned up and get her back on and see what happens. Well, you're gonna forgive me. I gotta take and disassemble this carburetor right here on my skid lift. I got my bench occupied right now with a Farm All A carburetor that we're rebuilding, so there'll be a video on that as well. Just get this apart and get her cleaned up. We'll get her thrown in a ultrasonic cleaner and scrub a dub and put her all back together and hope for the best. And see, there's a problem. We got the jet down inside there. I'm sure that's just caked with crap, but we'll get her apart here, and yeah, hopefully that jet comes out of there. See, I got this jet from Briggs & Stratton. They make a special jet tool. Yep. A little bit of my liquid wrench down there. See what's going to happen. If I can't get this jet out of here, I'll probably just take and throw this in the ultrasonic cleaner and clean it. That way you can get some heat in it, and then try to take that jet out, because you don't want to wreck this. I have my reservations right now the way this feels. Nope. That fellow don't want to come out. Let's try this one. How about this guy? Will this one come out? Give me a different screwdriver for that. Same thing with that float hinge pin there. I'm sure that's seized in there. So there we go. That jet popped loose. Golly, this carburetor is just filthy dirty. We'll try this screwdriver thing. No, that fellow don't fit down in there. I'm going to try another screwdriver. This just for giggles. It might pop it loose. Alrighty. Nope. I don't want no part of it. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and throw this thing in a ultrasonic cleaner and start getting it cleaned and warmed up, and I'll work at getting that jet out of there. I think we can. Alright, we cleaned that up and warmed it up a little bit in a ultrasonic cleaner. Now I'm going to show you a little tip here how to get these stubborn jets out so you just don't ruin them. what you're going to do is just take a little propane torch here and very carefully just warm that area up where that jet goes down in there. Try to expand that just a little bit where we can turn it out. Oh yeah, it's starting to bubble a little bit, so we're warming her up. Now, take a little bit of a PB blaster, spray down in there. Now let's see if we can turn this guy out of there. No, let's see, a little bit more, put a little more heat on there. Sometimes you gotta repeat. Now, you don't want to get carried away when you're heating this up here. Just warming that up so you can turn that jet out of there. Rotate it and go on this side as well. Hit this again with some PB. There we go. Just like that. More blaster in there. Run out of thread here. Sometimes you got to work them back and forth a little bit. This had just so much doggone corrosion in there. No need to go sparingly on the PB blaster. That's going to be your friend in this type of situation. Give me a little bit bigger screwdriver now I got that in there. Here we go, got a little bit wider blade screwdriver. Come on, Bessie. Be nice and come right on out of there. We're almost there. Come on now. This one really wants to hang out in there, don't it? There we are. Alright, well, we'll throw this back in the ultrasonic cleaner and give her a good scrub-a-dub-a-dub job, and we'll put her back together. Alright, we got this carburetor out of the ultrasonic cleaner, and it's definitely night and day difference on this. Now, this carburetor, it's a good thing we're cleaning it out because it was really dirty. So we'll start putting this fillet back together here. So I'm going to go through and start cleaning this main jet out, running my torch tip cleaners through here, all these holes. Make sure there's no gunk and crud in there. Now, you already know how to clean these carburetors. You can fast forward through the video if you want. And if you know what you're doing, but yeah, by all means, if you try and learn how to do this, yeah, stick with us here. So very important this gets cleaned out really good, because this is what draws the fuel up into the engine and meters your fuel. So if it's dirty, it's just not going to run right for you. There ain't no two ways about it. Now, in case you might be wondering, well, why didn't I, as bad as that carburetor was you saw, why didn't you just get a new one? Well, this is a wall broke carburetor for one thing, and Walbro carburetors aren't cheap, but they're also a good carburetor. You know, you could go on the world's second largest river in the world and get one of their carburetors, but you know, I just don't like them. I mean, I've made them work in a pinch, you know, but it seems like to me, yeah, I'm ahead if I take a little extra time cleaning one of these original Walbro carburetors up rather than taking one of those Chinese carburetors and messing with them and getting them jetted right so they run like they're supposed to, because 9 times out of 10 they're not going to be jetted right. I only use those kind of carburetors if I have to. Now, what I do in the event of this situation, now say this Walbro carburetor was completely junk, I would disassemble it and take my time and I'd get the original jets out of it, okay? So if I have to use one of those aftermarket carburetors, I'll swap their jets out and put the OEM jets in. There's a tip for you. Usually you do that. You can make them run pretty decent. Alrighty, well, we'll go ahead and drop this jet back down in there. I find on assembly it's helpful if I use a little bit of this liquid wrench. This on those threads so there's a little bit of lubrication when you're running this brass on down in there. Now remember, on these jets, when you run these down there, you don't have to tighten the living blazes out of them. Just gotta run them down till they stop and snug up. Because you ever have to go through this again, it's definitely more favorable if you don't gotta heat them up like I did to get them out. There we go, we're getting down there. And it stops us like that and done, leave it alone. Now we got this little pilot jet here, as I call them. They can run my rod through there, make sure that fella's clean. See, now when I'm doing these jets, what I do is I'll take and run the tip cleaner through that fits it, then I'll go the next size up. Then I'll slide this through and I feel a little bit of resistance and I'll just keep filing it till it gets easier. You know, and I'm actually enlarging the jet a little bit, and once it slides real easy, I stop right there. This gives it a little bit extra fuel. Got that fill started. Again, don't over tighten this guy because you definitely don't want to snap this guy off. If you do that, then you got problems. Go through here and stick her float back on here. With our hinge pin. Come on now, get in there. Sometimes you just got to give them a little tap to get that pin in there. It needs a little bit heavier. There we go, there's the ticket. Alright, now I got to put our bowl on here. I got my new O-ring already pre-set in there. Now, what I do is I just take a little bit of this, well, I can just hear the jokes now. It definitely ain't going to run because it says Ford on it, but just take and put a little bit of silicone on this rubber O-ring just so it's got a little bit of lubrication when you tighten it up. like that. Alrighty. Now let's go through and clean this fuel solenoid piston out good again, just to be sure. Working freely. Now we'll take a little bit of this liquid wrench spray down inside there. Alrighty. Go ahead and screw this fellow on there. I knew I had my wrench over here. Snug this guy up. There we go. Got my... Once you know that air compressor had come on right now. Alright, go ahead and put this air jet back on now the air compressor shut his mouth. I can run this all the way down my finger the best I can. Alrighty. Now I'll take and turn this out. One turn. One half turn. And one turn. That'll be our starting point. Alright, carburetor's all set. And now we'll go out. We'll stick them on the tractor and see where we're at now. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll go ahead and stick this fella back on here, and hopefully we'll have some success with this. Yeah, I'm going to put that other one in. Put that spring on first. It might be a little bit easier in the long run to do that. Kind of hard to get my fat finger in there to put that on there when the rod's already in there. There we go. There we go. Need our choke rod here. Goes in there like so. Slide down in its guide. Get our bolts going here. I'm not replacing that gasket there. It looks to be in pretty decent shape. If it's not, it'll let us know. They always do. It's not like these are difficult to take on and off, right? We're going to slip our breather box back on here. Just like that. Always got to be one nut's smart alcohol going back on there. got fuel coming down there. Fuel filter there, that's a good sign. Now what's left is get this thing, see if she'll roll over and run now. Let's see if I'll try firing this fella up this time and see how she runs. See if she'll sit here and idle. Well, I just gotta say, she don't sound too bad sitting here running. You know, who knows how long this thing's been sitting, but you know, the motor sounds pretty good. But what we're gonna do here for we quick take this thing for a test drive here just to make sure the hydro and it's working okay. I want to take the power washer and just give this thing a good wash job here and clean it up a little bit because it's kind of a little nasty. It's sitting here idle and I can smell a little bit of moisture that's in it and it's baking on the motor sometimes. So we're going to clean this up and we'll take it for a drive. Well, our little Sabre there, she pressure washed up there pretty good. She looks a lot different from definitely when I first brought this thing home on the trailer. She cleaned up real nice. So even underneath the motor here, she looks all nice and clean and spiffy now. But, well, let's jump on this thing, take her for a little test drive and see how that hydrostatic rear end works in it. And that's all go. Well, this thing will be ready for preparation. She'll be going up for sale. Alrighty, well, here's our moment of truth. Well, it rolls, that's a good sign. going to wrap it up here on this Will It Run on this 2000 John Deere Sabre. Now, I got to say, I wish I knew for sure how long this tractor's been sitting for. But, you know, the gentleman I got it from, when he pulled it out of the barn, from what I'm told, this was kind of similar to an estate auction from where it came from. So, wish I had more information, but it is what it is. But as dusty as it was, it's been sitting for a while. So she does run out and everything seems to work pretty good. The rear end feels good and sounds good in it. So this will make someone a nice little tractor when it's all said and done. But anyway, thanks for stopping by and checking this video out. I appreciate each and every one of you for doing so. If you're just stopping by here for the first time, checking this out, we have a playlist of all kinds of different Will It Runs from different antique garden tractors and push mowers, and we also have some videos on there for some international tractors and other things. I'm sure you might find something there you might find you're liking. Please feel free to leave a like or a comment, you know, if you're enjoying this kind of content, and maybe I could convince you to subscribe, and that'd be excellent. Until next time, we'll see you in our next video. Take care, everyone.